Hello, welcome back to Otter Pop Culture. Today we're going over the Austin, Texas-based singer, writer, producer called Dayglow. This guy has came into my mind randomly, or came into a playlist over radio randomly when I was listening to, I can't even know what the title of the radio on Spotify called, but I came across Can I Call You Tonight, and I fell in love with the sound. I love the sound. I put it onto another playlist that I had. I just love his it's a weird kind of dreamy, but also like retro in a weird way, type of sound. And then I listened to Fuzzy Brain, which came out in 2019, his first album, and I really, really liked it. I thought the sound was pretty much consistent throughout the whole time. And I love that he sends a message, but there's also there's a good handful of like playfulness with the way that he does stuff, and I really like that. And it's very upbeat, but also it's kind of still staying grounded in the same way. So I feel like in this album it completely continues that row, but going more of a depth into vulnerability, I would say, and also kind of bettering himself and bettering, or hoping by bettering himself, it reflects to other people to maybe they would help themselves kind of grow up, basically. So as he said, the album is pretty much about the reality of growing up. So whether it's growing up after a relationship, growing up to moving out, growing up of self-worth, or growing up as knowing what things actually matter to you. And I feel like this album kind of touches on all of those. And I love that. In a nice little orderly fashion too. There's some songs that kind of go in and out of the message that he's sending, but I think there's a reason for every single song. Let me go off my favorite songs I like. Also talking about the pieces of the album that actually are giving the whole look of the album entire. Well, actually, let me go backwards. Let me do the entirety of the album, talking about exactly what the whole premise of the album is supposed to be. And then we'll go into some of the songs I really like. So, his album is really, 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 really inspired by the 80s sound. You can kind of hear it. A little bit of the 70s kind of sound too. And apparently what he wanted to do was to have this album, so the album that reminds you of a record you found inside the attic of your dad's like record collection. And so I feel like it definitely does that. I can feel a lot of these songs kind of lean in that direction. So it starts off with the song Something. And this one kind of talks about a lot of the, our culture and how much we love and kind of lean into the, of putting our identity out there to everybody to see and everybody to like take in, and hopefully that'll give us some type of validation. But really what happens is that in the end of it, nothing really happens. That validation is a continuous hunger over and over and over again, and you never really get satisfied, so you're never really feeling that entirety of love that you get from putting this out. And it talks about that. And it talks about kind of being jealous that other people are getting what they want and you're not. So when is it my turn kind of thing? And I think it just mirrors even more of just like you're so unsatisfied with what you don't have that you don't even realize what you do have, or what you actually, do you actually even want that, you know? Or is it just more for validation's sake? Going to the next one I really like, or I kind of liked. I didn't really understand exactly what it's meant. All I knew it's called Medicine, and it felt like it talked about pretty much, the idea that this guy feels like he's just medicine made for this partner. He says, I wasn't made to be medicine for you. Can you make memories if they just make believe? So it seems like in a way that he's talking about the idea of this person that's just using him as some like security blanket more than an actual partner. And on top of that, there's a lot of pieces of the relationship that's not really like solid, and there's not real memories are actually being made through text or whatever. I'm assuming it's a distance relationship in a way too. So he doesn't really feel like nothing's really real in his relationship, and all that's happening is that he's just being the security blanket for this person, and that's pretty much all this relationship's here for. Balcony is the one I actually do like. I feel like this one talks about wanting to meet this wanting this person to make the first move, because he sees this person and he wants to talk to this person, but he's so nervous. So he's like, oh, please, please, please make the first move. And it takes too long, to the fact that she moves out. She moves out from the house that he sees her from the balcony. She's not there anymore. And he knows, he's like, fuck, I lost my chance. And I feel like in this type of direction, it kind of gives you that growing up as a realizing your mistakes, owning up to yourself. It's just like, yeah, what happened, and there's nothing I can do about it other than learn from what this means. That means I need to be more initiative. I need to make more moves. If I want something, I need to go make it happen, kind of thing. December is another one I really like. I love the sax. I love that he leans into the sax in a couple of these songs. This one pretty much talks about the idea that that things happen, and things change, and change is inevitable. You're always going to come across it, but it's kind of coming to terms with time, and coming to terms with like, it's okay to embrace change for what it is. That in the end of it, it's just how it goes. Whether you're having good days or whether you're having bad days, it never lasts forever. It's always temporary. And so definitely lean, if you can take that into the good part, also take it to the bad part, and saying like, yeah, this time right now, this shitty time is shitty, but I know it's going to get better because change is happening, and I can lean into change. If I do want something to change, I can lean into it. And it's kind of metaphorically using kind of seasons, and December, how December is the end, the darkest pieces of the winter, and the coldest type of the winter. So it does feel very gloomy in that direction, but it's in that direction it's saying is like, seasons change. This is what it does. Seasons change. Things happen. Close to You is another one I really like. It's pretty much was written as a duet, ended up being a solo, which is, I wish I could have seen him do it with a duet. Maybe he'll do it in concert, or maybe he'll like kind of do like some type of like Spotify thing where he does it. He gets a person that he really likes doing duets with, and does it for like a special thing for the fans. I really hope so. It'll be kind of cool to see what his original thought process was supposed to look like. Released a duet cut. So this one pretty much talks about the idea that these two people are at a party. They want to say hi. He wants to say hi to her, and he gets so nervous because he wants to get close to her. And whenever he's close to her, he just like gets so riled up. It kind of mirrors the balcony direction. So by the end of the night, she's gone. She's already left. She's done with the party. She's moving on. And he's like, why can't I just talk to her? And does it seem like it means anything to her? Does it mean to me? There's a part he says, there's something that I wish I would have told you, but you just don't seem to wonder what I'm doing when I'm close to you. She's unfazed about it. She sees him, they lock eyes, but she's not really making any type of moves, or he's not giving a vibe from her that shows that she's just as into him as he is to her. Crying on the Dance Floor is another one I really, really like. This one has this nice little chill sound to it. It kind of seeps right into the blue, which is the next song. This one pretty much talks about seeing an ex at a party and the feelings of everything that comes up of how, like, oh shit, like, there she is. There's all this feeling that's coming up about our relationship, and thinking about what went wrong, thinking about what went right, and thinking about, like, I really, really want you back, but you know you can't do that, so now you're in this weird rut. It's just like, fuck, now my whole night is completely ruined, and here I am crying on the dance floor, you know? And one thing I love that he says is, like, it's not easy to be somewhere that you never dreamed to be, so never dream to be. So you never think that he wants to be in this situation is not the situation he wants to be in. Going into the blue is even more chill, and it talks about this kind of insecurity that he just feels in a relationship where he's like, I just feel like I'm not as close to you as I want to be. Like, I feel, as he says, like, I feel like I'm losing you when you're here in my arms. I only feel like I'm losing you when you're here in my arms. I only feel like I'm losing you even when you say that I'm not. And even though it's not like it used to be. So I feel like in that kind of direction, he knows that things aren't going the way it used to be. Things have changed. And now he's in this space where he's like, when am I going to lose her? Am I going to lose her now? Am I going to lose her now? When am I going to lose her? I just feel like we're not as close as we used to be. But then he goes on and says, and and don't it never, or pretty much saying don't say it's never was legit. It's still nice to remember it. I'm better now because of it, but I'm moving on. Pretty much coming to terms with it at the very end, just being like, okay, please don't make it seem like it was nothing, because it definitely meant something to me. And I love thinking about it in the past and that type of like reminiscing on the good times. But in the end of it, the whole situation, I do not regret. It made me a better person. But now that I came to terms with that, I'm moving on from it. I'm going on. This is too much time to kind of sit and ponder on it. Moving Out is pretty much the Anthony song of this album. I really, really love it. It kind of hits a dual type of meaning. I feel like it does talk about moving out as in moving to the next level of your life, or moving out from your parents or from a roommate. It feels like more roommate direction, where it's like I'm moving to a different direction of where I want to go. And it also feels like it's talking about moving from an ex as well, going from their house to an actual, or moving from that relationship on to the next thing. There's a part where it says, it might be time to let somebody in. It's never good if you never begin. Pretty much nothing ever happens if you never let anything happen. If you just sit there and nothing happens, nothing will never happen. And you'll stay in the same rut that you were in, that you were the day before, and the day before that. Like, it doesn't end until you change, until you decide it's time to change. So yeah, and then another part I really like, it gets strange when a friend is a stranger, but you're growing to be something you can't see right now. Pretty much saying that you are growing into something. That's pretty much saying that, but saying that, like, yeah, sure, it sucks to move past the person that you seen as a friend or as a lover, and now they're going to be a complete stranger to you because you're not really living with them. They're not really in your life as often, but that moving on is just going to bring you to the next level of who you somebody of a different part of you that you've been hiding, that you didn't know that you had, that more growth that's going to happen once you move from this direction, from this stage. Woah Man is another one I really, really like. It was the third single to this album. And this one pretty much talks about, it was originally meant for talking to a friend, or about a friend that he's trying to talk out of, kind of letting go of a relationship or getting over a breakup. And pretty much saying just like learning to let things go and learning to kind of move forward, to grow, you gotta move forward, as he says, because even if you want to keep growing, you gotta let some things leave some things behind. And I wrote this completely sloppy. You've stepped out of that, or you have to step out of that mind. Pretty much, you have to step out of the mind that there's no growth that needs to be made, or there's nothing that where you are is where you should be. Maybe that's where you should stay, when you know that's not where you should be. So listen to the actual voice that says you need to move on, keep going, you know. And the only way to grow is to let go of some things. Some things you gotta let go. Some friends you gotta let go. Some places you gotta let go. Some relationships you gotta let go. If you feel like you're not really advancing in your life, you might have to let go of some things. Stranger talks about LA, I feel like, about kind of being in LA and not really know where you're going in the direction. But finally, the last song I really like is Like Ivy, where it kind of comes full circle in the songs. So you hear in a song where it says it's taken time. That taken time phrase is in this song and also in Something, which is the very first song. And it kind of circles around the whole idea of just like, what did you learn from all of this kind of thing? These songs, so let me talk about this whole quote that I really love from this song lyric. It says, well, first one that I really like is I get the feeling that I'm participating in a demonstration that they're just playing along, pretty much saying that he feels like he's in some type of matrix, some type of pieces that he's just kind of being played along with. There's no meaning behind it. One thing he does says, it's taken time to realize that maybe I might be someone else inside your mind. I'm learning to see what it is for what it is. I don't have to know where I'll be while it's beginning. I'm learning to grow. Pretty much saying, let life take itself. Let as the Christians say, let be God, or what's the whole thing? I don't know what it's called. Let God be, or let God go somewhere. Anyway, so pretty much let things happen. Don't take control. Don't be focusing on controlling all the things that you could, or things you can't even control. Like the whole AA direction. Accept the things you can't control. Change the things you can control. Like focus on that direction. And pretty much it's a mirror to saying this is me growing. This album pretty much is really beautiful. I love the idea that he is therapeutic to himself, but to everybody, to like mirroring to anybody else that kind of feels that way to this album. And I love the fact that there's a weird relationship guy, like, over arc that pretty much says, like, he's coming to terms with letting go of this relationship, or seeing what's wrong with it, seeing the woman, or seeing the person at the party. So all these things, but these experiences help him grow to being the person that he wants to be, or facing these problems face front will definitely see you grow past it pretty fast. So, or not, actually not fast, because time is also in the topic of this album. But anyway, I really like this album. I'm very surprised that he has continued he's very consistent with his albums. I give this album a 9 out of 10. There was Medicine and Strangers were kind of ones I felt like needed more to pull me in. But other than that, I love the album. It's really nice. Leave a comment below so what you thought. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. If you have your favorite songs on it, let me know. If you liked this video, hit the like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell too. And I'll see you all next video.